Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the Contorted Epitome. Now, I know a bunch of people call this the Contorted Epitome. I'm pretty certain it's the Contorted Epitome, but I could be wrong. So, Epitome, Epitome, whichever one you prefer. It's an absolutely cracking force multiplier for any Demons of Slaanesh army, and well, that's the reason why I've got one. So we're gonna jump right in and start painting. So it's been primed in Seer, and the first color we're going to be using is Leadbelcher. And we're going to be painting the Contorted Epitome in basically two stages. One, we're going to be doing the mirror, and then we're going to be doing the heralds or demonettes surrounding it. Well, standing either side of it. They're not really surrounding it. So, as I said, the first colour we're going to be using is Leadbelcher. I'm going to be using this to paint the coiled tentacles, the frame of the mirror itself, all of it. I'm not going to be painting the actual mirror in. Basically most of it. This section is silver, a little bit of gold. For example, on the large kind of gem device up here, I'm not painting that in. But otherwise, the rest of it's going to be Leadbelcher. So with that Leadbelcher applied all over, like this, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Magos Purple. I'm going to take this straight out of the pot because we are going to relayer the silver. But what we're going to do is we're going to use this to effectively kind of colour in the silver, and then we're going to make it silver again immediately afterwards. So this is going to, rather than just kind of add a pinky shade to it, it is going to turn the whole thing sort of purpley. But that's okay. That's kind of what we're after. So you don't have to be too careful here. So you don't want to completely overload it so you swallow up all of the details, but you just want to get this all over all of this silver. So with that Magos Purple applied, you should have some silver that now looks somewhat like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the process of relayering it. Now, what we want to do is we want to relayer the mirror's silver and the tops of the coiled tentacles, but not the undersides of them, because we want them to still be that nice deep purple. So the colour we're using is once again Leadbelcher. What we're going to do is we're just going to start painting this over the top of the flat areas of the tentacles where that Magos Purple shade hasn't settled, like this. Just avoiding the recesses. And with that done, you should have some now absolutely beautiful purplish silver. So what we're going to do just to finish that off is we're going to take some Stormhost Silver, and we're going to just gently dry brush over the top just to pick out the edges. So with that Russ Grey applied all over that mirror, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Fenrisian Grey. We're going to make this quite a wide sort of relayering / highlight type thing of each of the ribs on the mirror. So for example, down here, what we're going to do, just going to start painting this Fenrisian Grey. Quite a wide line. Like so. Don't worry, it'll all make sense soon. So with that done, you should have a mirror that looks somewhat like this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some blue horror. And we're going to now do a much narrower highlight along all of these lines that we've just done. So we're just going to take a small amount of this on a small brush. We're just going to start painting this as a little highlight of each of our lines. Just like this. And be very mindful about how much you've got on your brush. You really don't want a lot because you don't want to blob on it. And with that done, we're then going to take some thin down Corax White. I'm going to start adding this to the corners of all of these circles. So, for example, just here on this middle one. Add a little bit of Corax White like that. And then again, down there like that. So with that done, we've now reached the kind of height of what each of these is going to be. So now we're going to actually just kind of glaze out the edges, and the colour we're going to make is a roughly 7 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Fenrisian Grey. What we want to do is we just want to grab some of this really thin Fenrisian Grey on our brush and then take quite a fair bit of it off, and then just towards the opposite side to where we've added those highlights with the Corax White. We just want to start glazing this colour. In the recess. Just building that up. Like this. And so with that Fenrisian Grey glaze applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to add a couple more glazes. The first one is going to be roughly 4 parts contrast medium to 1 part Magos Purple. And basically what we want to do is we want to add this in the corners. So we want to add a little bit of it here. And down here. We want to add some of it down here as well. Like that. And we're also going to add some in this corner too. Just giving that hint of pink. And add some down here at the bottom as well. Just like that. With that hint of sort of pinky purple applied, we're then going to do the same thing with a roughly 4 parts contrast medium to 1 part Talassar Blue. And this time we're going to keep it more towards the middle. Just like that. So with that done, the mirror is now finished. Isn't that awesome? So, what we're going to do is going to move on now, and we're going to start painting in these top areas, these horns coming off the top. And the colour we're going to be using for that is Shyish Purple. Got a brush wanting to make an appearance. There it is. So now we are going to use the Shyish Purple to paint in these horns up here. And with that Shyish Purple applied, we're then going to take some Retributor Armour. I'm going to use this to paint in the gem and the Slaanesh device at the top. Right there. I'm also going to use it to paint in sort of caps on the vial up here. So we've got that bit there, and we've got that bit just there. Like that. We're also going to use it to paint in this bit here. Like the hanging gem. And with that done, we're then going to use some black Templar to paint in the 2 bits of string we've got. So we've got this bit up here. Just there. And we've got this bit here as well. That's way too much on the brush. Like that. And with that done, I'm then going to take some Talassar Blue. I'm going to use this to paint in the vial. Like that. So with that done, it's now time to shade that gold, and the colour that we're going to use is Fyreslayer Flesh. A little too much on the brush. There we go. With that done, I'm now going to add some more highlights. The first one that we're going to make is Kakophoni Purple. I'm going to use this on those purple horns. And with that done, I'm then going to take some thinned down Canoptek Alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our gold. Just like that. In addition, over the top of the gems, I'm just going to colour them in. That one there. We've got this one down here as well. Like that. So with that Canoptek Alloy applied, what we're now going to do is take some Akhelian Green. I'm going to paint this over the top of those gems. So this one at the top and the one at the bottom. And with that done, we then want to take some Leviadon Blue. Not very much at all. And we want to apply this towards the kind of top half of this big gem up the top here. We don't need to do it on the little one because it's just that small. Just like that. And with that done, we then want to take some Baharroth Blue. We want to add this as a little highlight to the bottom of each of our gems. Like that. And with that done, then I'm going to take a teeny tiny amount of Corax White and just at the top of where this gem, the Baharroth Blue, I know how it finishes. Just want to continue it round. We're also going to add a little dot just there in the middle at the bottom and at the top. Like so. So with that done, the mirror is now finished. And it looks pretty awesome, even if I do say so myself. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to painting the two demonettes, or heralds, whatever they're meant to be. And the colour that we're going to start with is Magos Purple. I'm going to be using this on all of their soft clothes. So we've got areas, for example, such as the sleeves. Like that. So that Magos Purple applied, what we're now going to do is going to create a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Shyish Purple. I'm going to use this over the top of our Magos Purple. And then next up, still sticking with the Shyish Purple, what we're going to do is we're going to paint in the claws. Well, the claw on this guy over here. The other one will have to wait for now. Those claws are slightly different. And so with that done, just whilst we're waiting for it to dry, what we're going to do is going to move on. I'm going to take some black Templar. I'm going to use this to paint in all of the armour and leather details. So for example, just here. Around the thigh and across the chest. So with that done, you should have a contorted epitome that looks something like this. As you can see, I've also taken the opportunity to use that black Templar on all of the claws and things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to paint in the skin, and the colour we're going to make is a roughly 2 parts Apothecary White to 1 part Magos Purple mix. We just want to paint this in quite a soft, thin coat all over the top of all of their flesh, giving us that lovely kind of subtle purplish hue that we're after. So with that done, we are now just going to continue striding forward with the base coats, and the first colour we're going to use is Shyish Purple. Well, the next colour we're going to use is Shyish Purple. I'm going to use it on these kind of thick hair tentacle bits on this herald over here. Just like this. And with that done, we're now going to take a roughly 2 parts Volupus Pink to 1 part Magos Purple mix. I'm going to use this to paint in all of their hair. For example, on this herald just here. Got that bit there. And that. So that hair all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to use some thinned down Leadbelcher. I'm going to use this to shade pretty much all of the silver details apart from any little jewels. Well, all of the remaining details apart from any of the little jewels. So for example, down here, we're going to shade in, we're going to paint in the kind of icon surrounding the jewel that's just there at the bottom of that tabard. We're just going to leave the jewel itself for the moment. Just like this. And with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to use some thinned down Retributor Armour to paint in all of those jewels. So starting over here. Just like this. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to create a roughly 2 parts Volupus Pink to 1 part Talassar Blue mix. And the way you want to mix this is by going 1 brushful of Volupus Pink, then 1 brushful of Talassar Blue, and then 1 brushful of Volupus Pink once again. So you get that 2 to 1 mix. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use this to paint in the snapping claws on the other herald. So this one here. So we want to just paint this over the top like this, coming to around about halfway up that arm, like that. Then we wash the brush, and then we just smooth out that transition by kind of dabbing away at where the colours meet, like so, to get this nice fade from the purple upwards, like that. And you just want to do this on all the sides of all the claws. So this one is a little bit annoying because you have to come in from this end. So just be very careful maneuvering your brush around. Like so, and then wash the brush, and then once again smooth out that transition on that side as well, like that. So with that done, it is now time to add some shades, and the first one we're going to use is Magos Purple, and this is going to be for all of our silver, just like we did on the mirror itself. And with that done, we're then going to take Fyreslayer Flesh once again, just like on the mirror. I'm going to use this to shade all of our gold details. So with that done, it is now time to add some layers and some shades to brighten all these details right back up. And the first one we're going to be using is Genestealer Purple, and we're going to be using this for the outside of all of our clothes and cloaks and things like that. And what we want to do is we basically want to do a really kind of wide edge highlight. It's almost a relayering, just ignoring where our previous mixes have really settled in the recesses. So for example, up here on this sleeve, we're using this Genestealer Purple quite liberally. Just like that. Now we don't want to do the interiors. So for example, here on this trail and under there, and for example, on this girl, we don't want to do this bit here, or that bit under there, or in there. We just want to do on the outward facing areas. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Slaanesh Grey, and we're going to use this to highlight all of those clothes by just picking out the sharpest points. just like this. What we can also do with the Slaanesh Grey, whilst we've got it, is we can highlight the claws. Like that. So with that done, all of the cloth is now finished. So what we're going to do is going to work on the skin, and the colour we're going to make is roughly 2 parts Pallid Wych Flesh to 1 part Slaanesh Grey. And what we want to do is we just want to layer this up over the top of the skin, just avoiding where we got that subtle pink shading in the deepest recesses. For example, this knee, you want to re-layer it up. For example, down here on the feet, you just want to avoid where the pink is, well, pinky purple is settled. And with that done, we then take some Pallid Wych Flesh on its own, and we use this to highlight all of the skin. I'm just going to start up here on the face, just by picking out the lip and the point of the chin and the top lip. Like that. Similarly down here, we want to just pick out areas that are super prominent, like those kind of ankle bones. This little bit here on the knee. And each of these ribs here. So with that done, all of the skin is now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to be using this to highlight all of our black details. So areas such as the claws, and the armour. Just like this. And with that done, we're now going to use some Stormhost Silver. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our silver. And with that done, we're now going to take some Canoptek Alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our gold, as well as just layer over the top all of those gems. Just like we did on the mirror. And with that done, we're now going to take some Talassar Blue. I'm going to paint this over the top of our gems. Now, the gems are this one here. We've got the one down here. Like that. Got this one here on the leg. And then we've got this one here on the forehead, like that. We've also got this one here on the forehead. Got this bit. We've got the central part hanging here. Got the ones on the tabard, like that. Got the underside here. Got this one here. And this one here. Like so. And then right under here, you have another one on the tabard. I've got this one here, which we forgot to do earlier on the mirror. Just like that. And with that done, we are now going to use a tiny amount of Baharroth Blue to add a little highlight to the bottom corner of each of our gems. Like this. And with that done, we've got one highlight left to do, which I forgot to do. And that is to highlight these kind of horns with some Kakophoni Purple. And of course the other highlight I forgot to do, which is the hair. And the colour we're going to be using for that is Pink Horror. Like this. So with that done, our Contorted Epitome is now finished. All that's left to do is the base. Now, of course, I recommend you finish your bases off in the same style as the rest of your army. But I thought I'd show a little bit of how I'm going to be doing this, because this is very much an exercise in brush control right here. So I'm using Astromatic Granite Debris. And what I'm going to be doing is going to the pot for little amounts and very often to try and get this Astrogranite debris all over the negative space of the base. Like that. That sort of bit's easy. But the more tricky part is the bits inside the coiled tentacles. This is where the brush control comes into play. It's all about finding the angles. And then being careful on the way in and being careful on the way out. So for example, that angle there. You want to come in like this. Then be careful on the way out. And start moving it around. And what we can do is head under here. Best way of doing this is to lay it out and then move it in. Like that. And then you just want to check from every angle that you've filled in that coiled area, which we have. So we can just keep moving on. And so with that base complete, the Contorted Epitome is now finished. And it is such an interestingly challenging model to paint. It really is. It was really fun, don't get me wrong. But yeah, very, very difficult to figure that one out. I did enjoy it though. It's such a force multiplier as well for any Slaanesh Demons army that you absolutely have to have it. Including like the Hedonites of Slaanesh for Age of Sigmar, and of course normal Slaanesh Demons for 40k. Great model. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you can now become a YouTube channel member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these absolute bosses have done. And if you just want to shoot me a little thanks, just because you really love this video, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.